Hi guys, it's Erin. Welcome back to the greenhouse. Today we have a whole lot of seed starting to do. I went through the list a week or two ago of everything that we're going to start in March, and a big chunk of it's going to happen today. I have 20 trays to start and only 4 different types of flowers. So the first one we're going to have, of the 20 trays, 12 of them are going to be zinnias. 4 of them will be sunflowers, 2 will be amaranth, and 2 will be cosmos. This is the time of year for all the summer annuals to start getting going, and it's pretty darn exciting. The weather outside is kind of crazy. The wind is picking up. It's going to get stormy today, so if the noise gets a little wonky, that's why. So sorry about that ahead of time. But like I said, I have 20 trays to fill. I have exactly 20 spaces on my racks over here, and then I am out of space. Literally will not have any more room in here, any surface area to put any trays. So the next thing we're going to do after all of this is done, in another video, I'll take you along as I pot up all of my hanging baskets. Can you see those up there? And I have all of these plants right here that are for those hanging baskets. So back to today. So I'm going to go through these. I went through in detail what each of these flowers looks like in the last video, so I'm not going to do all of that, but I do want to talk to the specifics on how to sow each of these. I've got all my trays prepared. I do it just like I normally would in all my other seed starting videos, where I just pre-moisten the soil, mix it all up so it's damp but not soggy, fill all my 72 count trays, and then they're ready to go from there. It's just regular seed starting mix, no fertilizer, nothing weird. So that's all ready to go. I do need to label, especially when I'm doing this many and they're zinnias. Every single one of them is going to look exactly the same until it blooms. So I'll make sure all of these are labeled before they go onto the trays. So we're going to start with, I'm going to put all these back over here, and we're going to start with our zinnias. Like I said, I've talked to it in the last video. I'm going to do 3 rows out in the field, which means each row is 40 feet long, and I can fit about a tray of flower plants in there at the 9-inch spacing that I'm going to give them. So 12 trays of zinnias, 4 of which are going to be this ballerina, and then 1 of which is going to be mostly the floret varieties and some Oklahoma salmon. And the last 4 are going to be all my queen lime and this Benary's giant lime. I said in that previous video that I have some other brighter colors, but I'm going to do a second succession of these in a couple of months that will be those brighter colors. But for now, I'm going to do the softer, more muted colors for the spring and early summer. Okay, so zinnias, they're pretty easy to grow, they're pretty easy to germinate. This is what the seeds look like. Just these, they almost look like dahlia seeds in a way, but that's what they look like, nothing special. They do need to be buried, so I'm going to poke holes in each of these. They want to be about 1/4 inch deep, which should be easy to get. So just poke holes, and then we'll put the seed in, we'll cover it all, and mist it in. So zinnias are pretty easy to grow, like I said. 1/4 inch deep, we'll cover them, water them in, put humidity domes on them. Zinnias like to be warm. They germinate at around 80 degrees. So these guys are gonna go on my heat mats for sure. And they are not frost tolerant at all. So none of these will go out into the field until after our last frost, which for me is in April, the beginning part of April. So we're gonna make sure that all of these stay nice and cozy back here on the racks, close to the heater with heat mats when necessary. I only leave the heat mats and the covers on them until they germinate. Once the majority of each tray is germinated, I'll lift them off and turn off the heat because I don't want to actually cook the seedlings. I just want the soil to be warm enough for them to germinate. I'm going to get this batch sown, and then I have 2 more batches just like this with the other varieties that I told you about, and then we'll move on to the next type of flower. Okay, all of the zinnias are done. All 3 of these shelves are full now. The next up is sunflowers. So like I said in the past videos, the colors that I'm going for early on in the season are the white light. These are all pro cuts, single stem variety, 50 to 65 day bloom time. So really quick. The colors, like I said, there's the white, the gold light, which is a classic yellow, but it has sort of a green gold center, and then orange excel, which is just the classic sunflower. I'm going to do 2 trays of the white night, 1 of each of the orange excel and the gold light. These sunflowers, like the zinnias, prefer to be warm, so they'll be kept in here. These guys took up all of my heat mats, but I will put them right over there on the bottom shelf next to the heater. These will get real tall real quick, so they also need the extra room. Generally, sunflowers, you can direct seed outside. I don't do that. My birds, it's just too much risk for me, so it's easy enough for me to do this. So that's what we're going to do. The sunflower seeds, these are slightly different than the ones that you're going to find for edible, and they look the same, but they're smaller. And a couple of these varieties will be like jet black, tiny seeds, but they make big, beautiful flowers anyway. So the sunflowers, again, super easy. I've already poked the holes. I've already labeled my trays. I just need to put 1 in each cell, cover them over, water them in, and put them under the heat and the lights. They don't need light to germinate, but obviously they need light right away as soon as they pop up. And if it stays warm enough in the greenhouse, they will pop up within days. Sunflowers are a little bit more cold hardy than, say, the zinnias. They don't want a hard frost, but they can handle a little bit of a cool temperature. So ideally, these will be going out into the field probably 3 weeks, like right at our last frost date, so that they can get out there soon. They're not going to like being in these trays for very long. If I had more of them, I would be using the deep cell trays like I used for the sweet peas and the lupin. They'll shoot out a taproot real quick, which is why they can only stay in here for a very short amount of time. And then also I will do this again with sunflowers, this same routine, same 4 trays in 2 more weeks. And every 2 weeks throughout the season up until mid-June, hopefully, if I keep my numbers straight, mid-June, and then I will, that'll be the last of them, and they will get us through August into September with sunflowers. Sunflowers are a classic, easy to sell flower. Even in wedding work and event work, they're really fantastic. So I'm just going to get these sown. It's no different than the when I did the zinnias. So we'll just knock them out and then get them on the shelves and move on to the other two types of flowers. See those ones? All right, sunflowers are done. Next up is cosmos. We've got the cupcakes blush, bicolor violet, apricota, and afternoon white. I went over all the details about these different specific varieties, but in general, cosmos are very easy to start from seed. You can usually just put them out direct sowed like the sunflowers or the zinnias. Again, I don't do that just because I've had bad luck in the past. So these guys don't actually need to be super warm. They'll germinate at 60 degrees. We're gonna do 2 trays of these. I'm just gonna do a half tray of each color because they put out so many blooms and the plants get so big that I don't need more than that. All these colors go fantastic. And like I said in a previous video, we're going to do a succession sowing of all these warm season plants. So this batch, by the time they get so unwieldy that I don't want to deal with them anymore, I should have another batch coming on. So these guys, easy to grow, direct seed them anytime after your last frost. In here, I'm going to keep them on the top shelf near the heater because they want to maintain an even temperature, not necessarily too hot, but they don't need a heat mat for me. But these are like the sunflowers in that they're not going to want to stay in this tray for too awful long. They're going to grow quick. All of these heat-loving plants will grow quick. This particular plant, instead of burying the seed, can you see those seeds? One of these little guys. I'm going to surface sow these, and then I'm going to use vermiculite to cover them. They should be good to go, and they should germinate quickly. So I'll show you how I do it. Okay, we're on the home stretch. The last seeds that we're going to start are amaranth. We have 3 different varieties we're going to start right now: the red spike, autumn touch, and green tails. So these are super easy to grow, just like the other ones. The seeds are tiny, so we're going to surface sow them, cover them with just a light layer of vermiculite, water them down, mist them so that they're settled in. All this soil is already damp, so we shouldn't have to worry too much about it. I'm going to put some covers on these trays and get them up on the shelf. These guys, when you sow or after you get them up and growing, just like the cosmos and the zinnias and everything else, they're going to grow quickly. And these get very, very big. So they don't need a whole lot of, you don't need a lot of plants for a good amount of space. In the next month, all of these will be moving out into the field. You got to wait until after the frost, until after your last frost date, which feels right now like it's coming early this year. We may already be beyond our last frost date. After that date is passed, and then these are going to go all in, all over. These guys certainly prefer warmer soil, so once I get them out there, they'll probably slow down a little bit on their growth because we stay pretty cool until mid-June. And then at that mid-June time frame, I plan to do a succession sowing of these, just like the Cosmos and the Zinnias, to make sure that we have a good crop of them going into the fall. So let's get these going. I will show you, I just need to label, and then I'll show you what the seeds look like. Super tiny, really easy. It shouldn't take any time at all to get these sown. I'm growing the most of the green tails because it's going to be earlier in the season, and that color is more conducive to early season arrangements. The Autumn Touch and the Red Spike are very dark fall, almost late summer fall colors. So they'll mix in here and there, but they won't be quite as versatile as the green tails at this point for this group. When I do the later succession, it will definitely be more of the darker colors, the fall colors. Okay, let me show you what the seeds look like. When they come in a tiny envelope, they're little. So these guys, I don't think you can see them. You see that little bit of yellow? There's 100 seeds there. All right, guys, we got them all done. Over 1,400 seeds sown today. So much beauty to come for this season. Like I said, this is sort of a milestone for the seed starting time of year, just because it's when the real heat lovers start to get going, and this is a true sign for me. It's that next step. In a few weeks, I'll be planting out a whole lot of what's in here, and there is a whole lot in here. There's so many little plants. It's kind of crazy. So that's going to do it for this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. It's always fun for me to bring you guys along as I get everything ready for the farm for this season. So leave a thumbs up if you liked it. Leave a comment if you have any tips or info that you could share with the community about all these plants. And we'll subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.